Flying in Nepal is not for the faint-hearted. With an average of nearly 2 crashes a year, Nepal's aviation record leaves people in fear.
The people are praying before boarding the aircraft. This is very embarrassing.
Fueled by trekkers drawn to the Himalayan peaks, tourism is booming. But extreme flying conditions push pilots to their limits.
What is the running inside the brain of the pilot? I should always focus, 100% focus on flying.
Critics say urgent action is needed before more lives are lost.
The Civil Aviation Authority need to be reformed badly. Badly.
101 East investigates why Nepal is one of the most dangerous places in the world to fly. On the morning of the 24th of July, 2024, a Saurya Airlines passenger plane crashed at Kathmandu airport just 7 seconds after takeoff. 18 lives were lost. There was just one survivor, the pilot.
जहिले एकदम हतार भयो भनिसकेपछि बाबुले बाई बाई गर्न पनि भ्याएन टाढाबाट बाजे बाई बाई भन्यो.
Those hurried moments were the last time Prakash Katiwada and his wife Geeta saw their 4-year-old grandson Adiraj, their eldest daughter Preeza and son-in-law Manuraj.
कान्छी छोरी अनि उनले चाहिँ फोन गरिन् मम्मी भिनाजुको प्लेन क्र्याक भयो भनी एकैचोटी अनि मैले उनलाई सोधेँ फुचु कहाँको फ्लाइट दुर्घटना भएछ कान्छी भने मम्मी पोखराको भनेपछि म सरलाङ सुरलुङ भएर म त्यतिखेरै किचनमा ढल्ने छु मलाई थाहै भएन कसैले पनि तिम्रो हजुरआमा हो भन्देखि होइन बाँकी छ हजुरहरू मेरो मामु हो भन्थ्यो किनभने ऊ जन्मेदेखि नै मैसँग
अभी हमारे पास नहीं है वो लोग क्या याद करें उसको मन नहीं लगता कि याद करने का.
Geeta's family and the other passengers should not have even been on the flight. The aircraft had been grounded for 34 days in the capital and was being flown for a major maintenance check. Only essential crew were meant to be on board. After the crash, all eyes turned to Ratish Chandra Lalsuman, a former Director General of Nepal's Civil Aviation Authority, who was appointed to lead the investigation.
The most probable cause of the accident was deep stall during takeoff. भयो के छ भने तपाईको त्यो हात त उले ट्राई गरिरहेछ तर खुट्टा जुन छ नि त्यो पेडलमा चाहिँ उसको खुट्टा चाहिँ जाम छ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि तर के थियो भने जहाज चाहिँ डीप स्टल भइसकेको थियो त्यो स्टल भइसकेको थियो त्यो चाहिँ के छ भने त्यसलाई रिकभर गर्न सकिदैन.
His findings, released a year later, shook the nation. The crash report reveals systemic failures, with pilot error identified as the primary cause. The plane was flying too slowly and its angle was too steep during takeoff.
एक ठाउँमा हैन कि सबै ठाउँमा यो नेग्लिजेन्स भयो भनेर ग्रस नेग्लिजेन्स हामीले भन्यौ. कुरा के थियो भने पाइलटले त्रुटि त गर्यो तर यो त्रुटि किन भयो पाइलटमा?
It's a question that haunts Prakash and his wife. To this day, no one has been held accountable for the crash.
हेर्नुस् है त्यो फेरि फ्लाइट गर्दाखेरि तपाईको चाहिँ न्यूनतम संख्यामा चालक दलका सदस्य मात्रै बोक्नुपर्छ भनेर लेखिएको छ. 18 जना किन बोक्यो भनेपछि यो मर्मत गर्न लगिएको जहाज भने पनि यो चाहिँ तपाईलाई चाहिँ यो सरासर तपाईँको चाहिँ गैर कानुनी उडान हो।
The investigation also found Saurya Airlines was responsible for fatal lapses. There was no safety briefing for passengers. Luggage including flammable chemicals was unsecured, and pilots were given the incorrect takeoff speed. The report also faulted Nepal's Civil Aviation Authority for weak oversight. Rajan Pokhara once served as the authority's Director General.
If there is any gross negligence, non-compliance, violations, that is a crime.
He spent more than 3 decades working in Nepal's civil aviation industry. By the time he retired in 2021, he had serious concerns about whether the country's new airlines were meeting basic safety standards.
While issuing the air operating certificate, we need to be strict, especially about their financial part also. If they do not have enough financing, there will be compromise in every aspect. Compromise in maintenance, compromise in replacement of equipment, compromise in training, compromise in remunerations.
That concern turned prophetic when a leaked email sent to staff in May 2023, just 14 months before the Saurya crash, revealed severe financial troubles and staff cuts at the airline. Nepal's aviation industry has been under global scrutiny for years. Its airlines have been banned from Europe for more than a decade. Behind the record lies a deeper issue, a conflict of interest in the very institution meant to keep the skies safe, Nepal's Civil Aviation Authority.
The Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal is actually wearing 2 hats at the same time. So one is the business functions, another is the supervision, monitoring, or you can say in our words, in aviation words, oversight functions. Everyone can assume that Civil Aviation Authorities 90%, more than 90% focus is on business parts and less than 10% focus on safety parts.
In the past 20 years, the number of international tourists who visit Nepal has tripled. Meanwhile, domestic air travel has climbed to nearly 5 million passengers a year. Nowhere is this boom more visible than in Lukla, the gateway to Mount Everest. It's often called the most dangerous airport in the world. Here, sudden changes in the weather can make landings perilous. Former pilot Rajan Mananda knows better than anyone the dangers of flying. He's lost colleagues and even his own son in plane crashes.
Okay, this is my colleagues. We are a group of 17 people. We entered in Royal Nepal Airlines at 1988. And one AG Sherpa, Captain AG Sherpa, he passed. And the Roshan Manandar, he passed. And another one, Ram Singh Gurung, he passed. And another one, Lakshman Prakash Bikram Shah, he passed. And one guy is left. He is still alive, but he is disabled now, handicapped.
As the tragedies pile up, often pilots are blamed. But Rajan says they are not the problem.
Nepali pilotहरू is the worldको सबभन्दा बेस्ट तर म उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ दे आर द फुलिस पाइलट भन्छु म मूर्ख किनभने त्यस्तो लुक्ला जस्तो ठाउँमा त्यस्तो ल्यान्ड गर्ने मान्छेहरू जुन कि वान वे टेकअप वान वे ल्यान्डिङ हैन भित्र छिरेपछि मेरो छोरा बित्या जस्तो बित्छ त्यहाँ उठ्यो भने
Rajan's son, Srijan Manandar, was 27 years old and had been a pilot for almost 2 years when his plane crashed during a landing at Nukla in 2017.
अनि 1:30 कतिमा फिफ्थ फ्लाइट उनीहरूले चाहिँ अब यसो हेर्दाखेरि हाफ एन आवर पनि एयरपोर्टमा उनीहरूलाई राखेन जस्तो आयो रिफिलिङ गर्यो तुरन्त चामलको बोरा राख्यो उनीहरूलाई प्रेसरमा उडाएको जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई फिफ्थ फ्लाइटमा क्रास भएको विदाउट रेस्ट हो फटिग हुन्छ कि त्यसले पनि होला प्राइभेट एयरलाइन्समा भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि त्यसमा इन्सेन्टिभ पनि हुनसक्छ इन्सेन्टिभ मतलब चाहिँ पैसा the father and son, this is the last picture.
What is the running inside the brain of the pilot? What is thinking? How he is flying? What is the burden he is taking with him in his brain? This is very important. The psychological part also important. That is why there is aviation medicines, where we conduct the, physical as well as psychological investigation also. If I am tense mood, I should not fly. I should always focused, 100% focus on flying.
The crash of the Saurya Airlines flight was not an isolated tragedy. The country was already scarred by 15 deadly air disasters in the past decade. For years, pilots bore the pressures in silence. But now, for the first time, Nepali pilots are coming together to form a national union.
अभिभावकहरूको नकारात्मक भावनाहरू बढेको छ र हाम्रो देशको युनिक टोपोग्राफी च्यालेन्जिङ वेदर र लिमिटेड नेभिगेसन फ्यासिलिटीका कारणले गर्दा हाम्रो पाइलट जटिल परिस्थितिमा काम गर्नु परिरहेको छ यी सबै चुनौतीका बिचमा
Our goal is to work hand in hand with the ministry to reduce accident and incident rate across the board. Please involve us. Call us to the table when safety is being discussed. We want to be a part of the solution.
Captain Kumar Pandey spent 20 years flying across Nepal and India until he says he was forced out for saying aloud what many pilots only whispered.
There are so many people involved to create this situation. The first is the authority, second is operator, third is all the pilots, engineers. There is a conflict of interest here. Civil aviation people or maybe authority people, they are not properly checking the airlines. And airlines wants to make money. They are pushing pilot too hard. Even if you have like some maintenance issue on the aircraft, the management will tell you, nothing will happen, go. They are businessmen. They want to make money.
Every time Amrit Karil boards a plane in Nepal, he's scared of crashing. A lawyer for those who have lost loved ones, he's seen how aircraft disasters can tear families apart. Today he's meeting some of those families in Pokhara, the gateway to the Himalayas and Nepal's newest international hub. Just 2 weeks after the airport opened in 2023, tragedy struck.
Really, we are lucky enough today to land here safely, because at that time when that fatal crash happened, this new airport, it was not operated. As it is mentioned in the published report of the probe committee, the runway which they used, they had never taken the validation flight and that for the landing, basically, that runway.
On the morning of 15th of January 2023, Yeti Airlines Flight 691 crashed into a river gorge while trying to land at Pokhara International Airport, killing all 72 people on board. It was Nepal's worst air disaster in 3 decades. At the controls was Senior Captain Kamal KC and Captain Anju Katawada. Cleared for runway 30, the crew requests a last-minute switch to runway 12, a brand new approach never used before.
There was no proper prior demonstration flight as well for landing from that airlines. It is stated in that report.
Normally we get this kind of training in the simulator thousands times.
Coming into land, things were about to go terribly wrong. As the aircraft began its final descent, the pilot called for one of the wing flaps to be raised.
The guy took the wrong lever. The condition lever is like, in a layman language, I'll tell you, when you are driving car, if you put the gear in the neutral and press the accelerator, what happens? Only you get the sound, maximum sound, but you will not get the car will not accelerate. Same thing, they pull the condition lever down.
This action cut power to both engines. Nearly a year later, the final report blamed human error and a lack of proper training and oversight. Amrit Kuril, the lawyer for the victims' families, says Yeti Airlines must be held accountable.
They lost their 3 family members of one family, you know. We cannot imagine the traumatic pain that he and his wife and they have suffered in this senior age.
Namaste, Namaste, Amma.
Madan Kaji and Bhim Maheshrestha lost their son, his wife, and their 10-year-old grandson in the crash.
Singapore government
दिनमा यति आँसु गर्छ जाँदा रुँदा हुँदा झन् रोगी भइसक्यो आँखा देख्न छोडिसक्यो यति अन्यायमा परेछ हामी अब के गर्ने
Left alone with no resources, they found support in Amrit.
सेफ्टी रिस्क म्यानेजमेन्टको चाहिँ जुन उनीहरूले दिएको सुझावहरूलाई कार्यान्वयन नै नगरिकन हतारमा एयरपोर्ट चाहिँ त्यसरी सञ्चालन गर्नुपर्ने बाध्यता के पर्यो रेगुलेटरलाई What was that compulsion? Why did the regulator approve such kind of flight? Though there was no any validation flight for the landing in the runway 12, but they approved for the commercial flight to land in that runway 12. यो त gross negligence हो नि त जान यो कम्पनीले के भने आफ्नो चाहिँ मात्र तपाईको चाहिँ नाफा अब यो आफ्नो नाफा नै सेक्युर गर्ने कुरो हो किनभने यदि अलग्गै को पाइलटको चाहिँ भ्यालिडेसन गर्न को पाइलटलाई चाहिँ अपग्रेडेसन गर्नको लागि त छुट्टै प्यासेन्जर फ्लाइट भन्दा छुट्टै फ्लाइट चाहिँ डेमोन्स्ट्रेसन गर्नु पर्थ्यो नि त त्यसको चाहिँ तपाईको चाहिँ रेस्पोन्सिबल त प्राइमरी रेस्पोन्सिबल त फेरि को हुनु पर्यो भन्दाखेरि तपाईको चाहिँ कम्पनी नै हुनु पर्यो.
Yeti Airlines offered the victims' families $20,000 in compensation for each passenger. But the Shresters refused to accept the money. Instead, choosing to wage a legal battle, they hope will force the airlines to improve their safety standards.
Yeti Airlines ले चाहिँ आफ्नो कार्यक्षमतामा सुधार गरोस् भन्नको लागि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि सजगता पब्लिक अवेयरनेस जनतालाई चाहिँ सुसूचित गर्नको लागि पनि हामीले मुद्दा लडेको.
While some seek justice in court, others are fighting in parliament in Kathmandu to reform Nepal's aviation industry.
1962 देखि आजको दिनसम्म 72 वटा फेटल एयर एक्सिडेन्ट नेपालमा भएको छ. 935 जनाको ज्यान गएको छ. यसको जिम्मेवारी कसले लिने? हाम्रो विभिन्न आयोग रिपोर्टहरू बन्छ. त्यो रिपोर्टहरूमा कि पाइलटलाई दोष छ, कि प्लेनलाई दोष छ, कि मेन्टेनेन्सलाई दोष छ, कि टेक्निकल प्रब्लम भनिन्छ. प्राधिकरणले कहिले जिम्मेवारी लिनु पर्दैन. एयर सेफ्टीलाई प्राधिकरणले प्राथमिकता दिन सकेको छैन र जबसम्म रेगुलेटर र सर्भिस प्रोवाइडर एउटै हाकिमको मुनि हुन्छ त्यो हुने सम्भावना पनि हुँदैन.
Uday Shamsharana, a former member of Nepal's federal parliament, has been among the most vocal, pressing for a reform that many governments have pledged but none have managed to pass.
There's too little money separated for regulatory purpose because I guess the financial motive or benefit in the regulatory body is not there. So everybody tends to concentrate on where there's more money. So in many ways, the regulatory side is being neglected. We need to separate the Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal, one into the service provider, other into the regulator. We've been raising this issue for the last 15 to 17 years.
With Nepal shaken by recent protests and political turmoil, the push for reform has stalled. Parliament has been dissolved since September 2025, leaving little hope that the government will deliver the long-promised changes anytime soon.
The people are praying before boarding the aircraft. Yes, this is very embarrassing. Being as passengers, you have right to question whether Nepal sky is safe or not.
Definitely, as a traveling public, it is a very tough question.
The Civil Aviation Authority, who control the airlines and aviation, need to be reformed badly. Badly. Otherwise, same thing will happen. Tomorrow we will talk again, one crash.
For those who have lost loved ones in Nepal's air disasters, patience has worn thin. Without acknowledgement and action, they fear familiar failures will lead to more tragedies.